Are you guys ready to get going?
Sure.
Yeah, it's 5 past.
Okay.
Let's go.
So previous meeting minutes, those went out, I believe, right? You sent them to me, I sent them out, or were you not at the last one?
I was not at the last meeting.
All right, so we don't have meeting minutes to approve on that, so we'll just have to pass that item for now. Go on to item number 2, building maintenance. First one that says bathroom furniture being acquired, and I actually just showed Donna this afternoon. What do you call it? So what everyone's saying is that, and especially through this current show, that women don't have a place to put their purse. And as we're starting to organize and figure things out, we also don't have a place to put toilet paper, paper towels. I mean, we do if we stack them in the back room, but trying to
you want extras in that room. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
All those supplies should just be in that room, but it's like, we're just figuring it out because we're still finishing off everything. And like, where does everything live? And with the back room being finished, I was just trying to clean it up over the last couple of weeks. And I was like, all right, well, we can get rid of this stuff over there. So we've talked about furniture a bunch of times. There's a couple ways to go about it. One way is, you get somebody, you'll price it out, do all that stuff. We've spent most of our unrestricted funds right now. So we could do that. It requires a lot of work, usually my work or somebody else's work. And that I wouldn't say it's expensive, but it's a whole process. You got to figure it out. You got to get everybody, on board. Then you got to get the money. Then you got to get it spent. Then, usually end up paying for it. Then you have to wait to be reimbursed. It's just a hassle. So I'm looking for faster ways to do things, especially since we don't, have a ton of unrestricted funds in our account, working with our partners and stuff like that. And then just kind of in talking about it, I talked about it with my girlfriend and a few other people. We were at Savers and we've gotten some good stuff there. I actually bought like a box thing, which is like a little table, and it was $4.99. It's got paint splotches on it and stuff, and it needs to be refinished. But with another $5 and a little bit of sanding, it's a perfect table to hold some toilet paper and stuff and hold purses and stuff like that. Donna just saw it. Put it in the bathroom. It seems to fit. And I'm going by there. And I think for another, $5, $10, $20, I can find some random pieces of furniture that could be scuffed up, painted black, and just serve that purpose without making it into a big deal.
I've been hunting and trying to see, and it's funny, I was in a Savers the other day, and I expressly went through that section looking to see if there was anything. But no, I was looking, because one bathroom I think seems skinnier than the other somehow, or maybe it's the way it's configured.
No, you're right. You're totally right.
I was looking for like a skinny table that would have a shelf on the bottom. This was another option that I've been looking for, and I haven't seen anything. So I have been hunting. I just haven't come across anything.
So I got one thing, and then I went back like twice, and I struck out. So I'm sort of doing that. I think it'll be fine. I think we'll end up solving it that way without having to make it a big deal. So I got one piece. If for some reason, I think it's fine. If for some reason somebody hates it, it's a whopping $4.99. We could throw it out. So nothing there. So we'll just say that we talked about that. So the next one here is probably, the real crux of stuff that we're going to talk about today. This is the KMA Associates proposal to move forward for, our handicap accessibility type entrance. And as you probably know that, we've been talking about this for a long time. We've done lots of different iterative plans. We have some stuff. Aloha, welcome.
Hey, Ellie.
Hi,
Welcome.
I'm so sorry I'm late. I was in the February 2nd meeting, and I was like, I'm in the waiting room for so long. I should send an email, and then I realized. So my fault. I'm so sorry.
All right, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
We're talking about handicap entrances.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. That's so good.
So-
I have to leave at 7:30 because I'm at my school and I have to leave. So just a warning.
Gotcha. So this KMA proposal that we sent out, KMA Architects, a little history on that. I think it told people that, there are people that had some stuff to do with some of the library accessibility entrances, and just people that are focused on creative solutions for like old buildings and that sort of thing. So we've done a little bit of groundwork with them. We've done, like I said, work with other architects and stuff. And we're at this point where we're trying to decide whether we're going to go to the front, whether we're going to go to the back. We've sent out some, what do you call it? Some drawings, some pictures in the last month or two showing what it would look like on the front. And the town seems to be very interested in finishing that last section of Albion Street. We've talked to the town administrator a couple times, and again, these engineering folks, they have the proposal that you see in front of you, most likely. Kathy and Donna got sent out. So this proposal is for an accessibility master plan, as well as an evaluation of our compliance report. So a few years ago, Kathy might remember this, Donna and Ellie, you probably weren't around during this. We had some architects do a plan. It was actually the Code Red Architects, which is, what do you call it? Code Red's a company that does a bunch of government information systems, and they also do design code review for people. They were actually the city of Medford's code inspection and review department, not Medford, Everett, when they did the casino. Code Red's the people that did all the evaluation on that. So we had a Code Red report. It was about $5,000 in 2018 that evaluated our building. It included all the drawings, the exact size of the building, what's called as-built, and looked at all the relative codes. How many bathrooms do we need? Where do we need the bathrooms? What are our capacity limits? And it covers accessibility. So we did a report, and that was just a report that basically said where we were, whether we were in compliance, what we were, if we weren't in compliance, and what the specific codes were with the state of Massachusetts. So the report on itself is just a fact gathering thing. And we use that to move forward with some of our other renovations that we've done. But it doesn't actually do anything other than saying accessibility needs to be introduced in a certain way, and the certain rules that you have for being an older building and coming up to current codes. With that report, we were able to get our bathrooms put together. We did the accessible bathrooms, and we did a few other things, having that in reference. Now, at this point, we're trying to figure out where to put our accessible entrance on the first floor. And we still have conversations out there about, our elevator. How do we get from the first floor to the second floor down to the basement? We've had various conversations about lifts and some other research that we've done. But it's just kind of like we have research in every direction, and we really need someone to sort of pull it back together. So I did a lot of research with other people, and we found KMA, which is the company that specializes in accessibility in old buildings. And I asked them to get us for a proposal. I had a few meetings with them and told them what we're dealing with. And we went through a couple iterations of this proposal. The first proposal that I got from them was very similar to the 2018 report that we bought for $5,000 on the code report. We had a follow-up meeting, and we discussed the fact that we already have researched out all the code requirements. We need somebody that's more on the implementation and to help us make decisions based on cost analysis as well. We know that the most attractive way to come in for accessibility is through the front. That's what we think we want to do. We've looked at a lot of options through the back. We have some options with the bank building being sold, and we know that the bank's going to be coming to the town for some zoning relief and permitting. We've had some conversations, and when I say we, I mean Steve Mayo, town attorney. They've talked to me. I've communicated to them that we'd like an entrance, whether it's accessible or not, from the other side. We want to, have another entrance. If it meets accessibility, great. If not, we'd like to do something else. We've talked about the idea of having like a portico, like an outside entrance that goes down our right of way to Chestnut Street, so that people can come in and sort of get that Newburyport effect, where when you walk around downtown, you kind of go around the buildings and up and down. And so the buildings of the Santander, the new owners of the Santander building, who are going to come up with proposals to town council and others in the coming months, are aware that we're interested in just being able to use that right of way to create a second entrance. We can create a second entrance. It's just a path to get there. We talked about the idea of hardscaping from Chestnut Street through that right of way. Now it's a right of way. We don't own it, and there's some legalese around that. But we've talked to them about that. So that conversation's ongoing. It may qualify as an accessible entrance. It might not. The favored way to do an accessible entrance is usually through the front door. We've had challenges, and the challenges, had to do with the street being ripped up and what was the timing, and they redid Albion Street. And we talked about this before. And when we talked about it before with the town engineer, what ended up happening was I put so many questions and information out there about our front entrance that we were just too much work, honestly, I think at the time. And so they actually cut us out of the project and put us in phase 2 of the downtown development thing. And I think it, was really just the timing thing. They realized there was a lot of concerns with the front of our building. It had to do with parking. It had to do with sidewalk width. It had to do with streetlight location. And we've actually had a streetlight move since then. And so the Albion Street project continued on from Foster Street down to North Ave. And, our little chunk was cut out. Now that we've done such great stuff with our building in the last year, everybody's talking about us. Everybody loves our lights. Everybody comes by. I mean, we're like super high profile amongst lots of people. And so at this point, we're still saying, hey, what are we going to do? Look, here's Doug. At this point, we're just trying to say, are we going to come through the back, come through the front? Hey, Doug. We hear his voice?
Sorry I'm late.
It's all right. No worries. We're just going, we didn't have minutes to approve, and we just went over the history of accessibility and entrances front and back. I did the long version. You know it already, I'm pretty sure. So we've got the KMA proposal in front of us, which I sent out to people a month ago. Again, accessibility specialists, creative specialists, lots of meetings and stuff. We've done lots of research in every different direction on accessibility, front, back. What about elevators? What about master planning? And so this proposal has 2 components to it. One of them is the accessibility compliance report review, which is a review of the work that we had done in 2018, which covered our as-built and just quoted all the code law for accessibility. That was the report that made it possible for us to get our bathrooms done and made it possible for us to move forward with some other stuff since we did a full accessibility report. That also handles a full, compliance report. The accessibility compliance report review here is just basically this component of their proposal is basically they'll review that report from a couple of years ago and note if there are any code changes with the state and if everything's on par. They have a lump sum fee of that for $800, which I think is reasonable, given the environment and the specialty. The second part, which is really the part like kind of that we want, because I mean, we want to keep moving forward. We want to do stuff. Research can be boring. It's required a lot for this stuff. And this accessibility master plan is they're going to look at our stuff and our compliance stuff that we already have, review that it's current, but then they will go in and they will make a recommendation as to should we go accessible through the front, should we go through the back. They will also take into consideration the fact that we want to do an elevator, something that we've been talking about for a long time. We've done research, we've gathered data to find out how much it's going to cost. They will take that data and, they will provide us a recommendation saying, hey, all your research is current and up to date with current code laws. If there's any changes, that's the first part. They'll let us know. And then they'll do a recommendation saying, we really think you should come in the front. That makes the most sense. Or we think you should come in the back. My guess is they'll probably say the front, but this is for them to decide, not for me to decide. They are the experts. They have the architecture licenses. They have the accessibility stuff, and they know there's some sort of board that rules on all this stuff for the state. So they know how to play the game. This is what they do. They will make a recommendation. So once this report, if we move it forward, happens, basically we'll get the report and it'll say, to become handicap compliant or accessible requirement, we recommend that you go through the front because of all your needs, which are you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do all these things, and it makes the most sense. And here's how much it's going to cost. So they will make an official call. We've been going back and forth, back and front. They will make a professional, call from, certified architects and the boards and all that stuff as to a recommendation of which way we should go. And they will also provide us with, if we go in here, schematic level drawings. Where are we? They'll ask us any recommended variances we might need, any other architectural barriers. And where is it? Given our goals, and there on here it says schematic design somewhere. And they'll give us some basic level design. So what would happen is if we move this forward, they basically deliver us a report verifying everything and making a recommendation and a projection as to the cost of what it would be. With that in hand, we can then solicit money. We will have a clear idea of what we have to do to be legal. My expectation, based on doing this for, the last 7 years and our previous construction projects, and this is sort of like maybe the third time we're going through a major, funding, potential spending, is I think it's going to be between $100,000 and $150,000. I think that seems reasonable. So if we got this report, they will do some projections on that of where they see the numbers and what they see the best part to be. After this report, assuming we were just moving forward and we had money, the next thing that would happen, there's one of two possible next things that could happen. One possible thing is we hire them to actually draw up the entire thing, which probably is like another 5 to 10 grand. And then we put it out to bid and it's part of a huge package and they sort of manage the construction part of it. We could do that. Or at that point, we may hand off to some of the town engineers and we may do it internally, but we would have a much more specific set of plans drawn up by a third party. So I'll just sort of open it up for questions. I can talk for miles about this stuff. Does anybody or just hit me with some questions, concerns, things I might have missed on this?
I'd say this is a next logical step for us. We really do need to address it. At this point, we have some foundational information. Sounds like a lot of work has been done recently with KMA. So my suggestion is if you're looking for a vote at this point to move forward with getting a proposal, recommendations, and funding estimates, then I say yes. Okay. But I don't know what other people have for comments or questions.
Donna, did I see you with your hand up?
I did. No, I was going to say, yes, I agree. It's time to move forward and, put all those pieces together. Right. And have a number in mind that we're talking about.
The thing that I think is valuable about this is, we know a lot of this information, but it puts a current timestamp on it.
Right.
It says, as of March 2022, this is the truth. You know what I mean? We've been doing research for 4 years.
Right.
This is the
And did you say they did they did the Wakefield Library also? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I don't know if it was the KMA firm, but it was some of their principals. It might have been their firm, but it was like 3 people in there worked on that. And that's the one that's on the left-hand side, as you go up Avon Street.
Right. But what I mean is the town has a history of working with them. So that would be a favorable thing.
Yeah. Now, what do you call it? So as far as our money goes, we've got, I believe, $25,000 in accessibility funding that we've gotten.
Right.
There's various rules around it, but, in a general sense, we've got that. And then there's $75,000 of ARPA money. And the ARPA money is like unrestricted and it's like leftover COVID money. It's kind of weird. And actually getting stuff paid with it from my initial exploration and discussions with people seems to be really challenging. So my thought would be that it probably, and I can figure this out with the town administrator and whatnot, that when we spend this money, we'd probably spend it out of the pile of money that we already have allocated for accessibility improvements, because this is right in line with why that money was awarded. The ARPA money also could pay for this, but it requires an extensive review process. And I think there's a lot of people, because of its unrestricted nature, that are fighting for it for other causes. So I think it becomes a bigger ball of wax. At the end of the day, we spent $200,000 on this building and maybe a little bit more at this point. So spending a $5,000 on a well-vetted architect, I think makes sense. And the way that this sort of works is, if we say yes tonight, I make a record. I send the town administrator a thing and just say, hey, the board voted that they want to move this forward. And then at that point, we either move it forward and we hire them, or a suggestion gets made of, hey, let's set up a series of meeting with internal engineering a little bit more. And that's fine. I do believe there's extreme value in having outside architects provide these things to provide us anchor points for a timeline. The town engineers and town staff are usually overtaxed, and we are not their number one priority. If we hire a third-party vendor to evaluate our building, we are their number one priority, because this is a fee-for-services kind of thing. I can forward this over to the town administrator. We'll talk about it, and hopefully we just move forward and hire these guys, and they take this report, and then we evaluate it with internal engineering. but they may request some pre-engineering meetings. If they do, that's okay. But the important thing is, if everybody's is interested in voting on this, which I will call for in a minute, the intent of this organization who controls the funds has been stated. I think it makes sense for us to move forward, and there's really no downside to this. They're going to provide us a compliance report. They're all certified, licensed, and all the things that you need to be. And this is the next step moving forward. Now, we don't have $150,000 to do this, but this is Chris Carino saying it costs $150,000, not KMA Architects with a big extensive report that details out the reasons. I'm just giving you my gut feel, 100 to 150. But if we have a report in writing that says, as of March 2022, all these things that we think are true, we can then move forward from a common point. Any more questions? Anybody? All right, so I'd like to make a motion that, that we approve this proposal from KMA Associates. It's currently in the amount of $5,200. If for some reason it were to go up, I'd say just for the vote, if we need to make adjustments to it and or add some other stuff in it, I'd say, let's say up to $7,000, but let's keep it at $5,200 because I don't assume this is going to change. And so I'd like to make a motion that we approve and pay for this. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, everybody want to vote? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. I think we did that the official way. So everybody here is on board with the fact that we are going to, I'll send a letter to the town administrator requesting that we move this proposal forward. One last note on this. If you looked at all 3 pages of it, the first page and a quarter basically just says they're going to do the compliance thing and the master plan thing and how much it costs. The third page lists their billing rates. They're a high-end firm. I would just say that we will be seeking, most likely, if we seek to move forward with them after they do this report, which is a lump sum report. It is not a by the hour kind of just as long as it takes you thing. This is a lump sum report right now. As stated, it's $5,200. Like I said, I added a little flexibility in case for some reason we needed it. But these rates that they list, the hourly rates and stuff like that, we will be soliciting future lump sum agreements, moving forward. So the hourly rates are reasonable. However, I think it's given the complexity of what we're doing, it's prudent to seek lump sum agreements unless we need to go to hourly billing. I don't think we do right now. That being said, the vote's over, so let's move on. All right, so it's KMA. Ongoing events review, Bring the Good show. So we had snow removal last week. We canceled the show last week because of snow, which basically extended it a week. Instead of doing the finale last week, we're doing the finale on Friday. The show's been a hit. The show's awesome. It's been well attended. 100 or so people, if not more, pretty much every night that we've been open. So attended, it's got all the right things. I talked to the town administrator and a few other people. We're doing all the right stuff. And by the right stuff, I reported back to him, just telling him what we have for attendance numbers. And we had one night, I think it was like around 150 people, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And at least 50 of them were coming or going from a restaurant downtown, which, our goal essentially is to connect the creative economy to the actual economy downtown. And we are being very successful with that. People are coming to our place and people are eating downtown and people are talking about our building and doesn't it look so great? And why don't they pave that section of Albion Street? And that section of Albion Street that we're going to be talking about paving and doing stuff is all of a sudden high priority. And I think a lot of it's high priority because of us. Everyone's talking about us. Everyone thinks it's great. The show's been fantastic. I'll open it up and say, does anybody else have feedback? You get a random call in. Okay. So that's what's going on with the Bring the Good show. It ends Friday. They're going to break down a little bit Friday, and then Saturday they'll finish the breakdown on that show. And I will say that it was successful, and we're excited about it. Does anybody have any comments on that?
Yeah, the show actually goes through the 4th. You're not open on Saturday the 5th. You're open on on the 4th.
Right.
I'm just looking. Okay. I was just looking at the date in the agenda, and I'm just making it the 4th. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
like, so we
Yep.
had snow. It was supposed to end last Friday. And then I
Yep.
just called him up and I said, hey, it's gonna snow. We got a little bit of room. And so let's just push it off a week. And I think it's gonna be packed, to be honest with you. I've got some people coming to it for some other stuff that's on the agenda that I'll talk to when we get to that. Kathy, I know you've been, Donna's been, Doug's been, everyone's been to the show. So does anybody else have any comments or feedback from their experiences?
I thought it was great. Very well done. Very well displayed. And it certainly makes the whole Albion Cultural Exchange look even more beautiful than it did before. When you see that many people and all that art, it's just so like exciting.
It is. It is, absolutely.
I just wanted to say that it's 7:30 and I do have to leave, but thank you so much.
No worries.
Bye, Ellie. Take care.
Really.
We'll catch you next time. All right, so that's happening. Any more comments potentially on that? All right. So for promotion, which sort of leads into upcoming events a little bit here, a press release for the next show, Art and Edibles, is pending. I'm trying to think here, gifts and donations, guidelines. So press release is pending for that. So for the Art and Edibles show, we've had several meetings with the town administration. We've had meetings with Erin that works for Steve and Jennifer McDonald. I had meetings. We've had Chamber of Commerce on some Zoom calls. We've had Main Street on some Zoom calls. In addition to that, I did a Zoom call with the food pantry 2 days ago, and several with the town officials. And so at this point, we've got a press release going on, and I've actually handed the press release off to Jen McDonald at the town as we start to integrate and get work together on things. She's a professional writer. I'm a super busy dude. I usually start the drafts on these things, but we've all been working together and on a lot of Zoom calls. She knows what's going on. This is her job to promote things for the town. And so we're working together. This will be the first time that she's done one for us. It's also a challenging press release to write because we've got so many partner organizations and we're doing so much that it's a real challenging one. So I'm hopeful that, this works together, works good, and that it comes out great. I'm sure it will. So she's working on that. As far as our meetings and promotions for the next show, we've come together with the schedule at this point. The show from this weekend, it closes Friday night. They do some breakdown Friday night, Saturday from 10 to like noon. They're going to break the rest of it down. And then right the next day, Sunday from 12 to 2 is the drop off for Art and Edibles. And then on Monday from 5 to 7 is also a drop off for Art and Edibles. And then we have basically like a week and a half until the opening day, which should be fine. We are planning on, and this doesn't necessarily, the dates don't matter, but the idea is that Friday or Saturday, Friday night, we're going to set up the next show, which would be like the 11th, and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And we should have the show that opens on the 18th. We should have fully hung and basically ready to go by the Monday before. So we should have 5 or 6 days, pretty uptime in case there's a disaster when we set it up over the weekend. I've got people, Andy Levine's coming. I've got Jamie from Arts Collaborative. I don't remember her last name. She's potentially coming with her husband to help us hang stuff. Anne Marie will be there. I'll be there. Tracy will be there. I think I asked Doug and a few other people if they could be there. So we've got people coming to help us hang the show, and we should get that together. Other details about the show that we've never spoken about on Zoom yet. As a result of our meetings, the Chamber of Commerce is actually donating $50 gift cards at various restaurants for every night. So every night of the event, which would be March 18th, March 25th, April 1st, April 8th, and April 15th. Each night we'll be giving away a $50 gift certificate to a restaurant in Wakefield. The first night is we're giving away, I believe, Harrington's is currently what's scheduled. The next night we're going to give away $50 to Remedy Exchange. And on that night, we have Justina Langone, who's going to do a health talk at the event. The next night, which I think is April 1st, I believe it's going to be Charlie's Kitchen on Main Street. We're giving away a $50 gift card. And then we don't have them secured yet, but I think the next 2 nights we're shooting for Tono and Public Kitchen gift cards. And I think the Chamber of Commerce is going to get that together. So the Chamber of Commerce has been excessively accommodating, which is great. John's a great guy, and he, we talked about what we were doing and trying to get people in and trying to generate excitement week to week with our sub events in addition to the show. And he offered up the gift card. So $50 every night that we're open, which is great. Should be a great draw. Regarding staffing of the event, we've requested the partners to help us with that. We requested 4 people for staffing of each night. There are 2 people that will be front of the house greeter, like hosts when you walk in the door. And then there'll be 2 people that'll be gallery hosts. And we're hoping to source those people from the Chamber of Commerce and Main Streets. And the idea is that if we have the partner organizations helping us do the staffing, that just the curiosity factor of all these diverse people across the town of Wakefield will help us also drive attendance. Like, hey, I got to work the show tonight. Oh, what's that all about? Come see me at the show, that sort of thing. So that's good. So we've got the Chamber of Commerce basically signed up for their stuff. They're giving us the cards. We've got the staffing between Chamber of Commerce and Main Streets. I've instructed them for our staffing. We're using what I use in a lot of my stuff that I do in marketing and school and teaching people with that. The greeters will be trained in what I call the GET methodology. And it's actually an industry thing. It's not me, which just means that they will greet, engage, and thank. So when people come in, the greeters will be like, hey, thanks for coming. We're so glad. How'd you hear about the show? They'll hand them a postcard, which I'll talk about in a minute. This postcard will have the farmers market schedule on one side, and on the other side, it's going to have a QR code for Wakefield restaurants. So they'll say, hey, thanks for coming to the show. Here's a card, whatever, how'd you come here? How'd you come to be? So that's the greet, engage. How did you end up here? And then thank you very much. They'll hand them a postcard, then they'll walk into the gallery. So that's called the GET, methodology of just welcoming people and making sure they're there. And we should have that. Now, I just mentioned a postcard, and this postcard we came up with in some of our meetings. And as we're trying to promote Wakefield food from end to end, from farmers market to food pantry and everything in between. So we had this postcard, and basically the one side has the farmers market on it, and so that helps promote the farmers market and their vendors and stuff. And we hope to have more of their vendors next year. We're going with a Friday night schedule. I know some of their vendors were considering coming on a Saturday. We ended up cutting Saturday and Sundays just due to staffing reasons. We had really great success being open Friday nights from 5 to 7:30. So we're going to continue that on. Maybe next year we'll have more farmers market people, but the farmers market representation will be that, we're giving the schedule to everybody that shows up to our event. They're getting a card. So if you didn't know we had a farmers market, it'll have their website on it. It'll have, the dates that they're open, that sort of stuff. And I think the dates are mid-June to mid-October or something like that. But then on the other side of the card, it's going to have a QR code. And this is something that came out of Main Street. So I'm sure everybody knows what a QR code is, right?
Yeah.
All right. Little fun fact that most people don't know, it stands for quick response. I just throw that in there because most people don't know. But anyway, so Main Street's created a QR code thing for down at the lake. And I believe they had it up on the shack where they rent boats and stuff. And the idea was that when people go down to the lake in the summer, they use their phone, they hit the QR code, a lot of them potentially being from out of town, and it lists every restaurant in Wakefield. It brings them to a website that lists a link to all the restaurants in Wakefield. They haven't, I don't think, touched it since like August, so it probably needs a little bit of updating. The code's probably fine, but the list probably needs a little bit of updating. And they have essentially offered that up, and we said, hey, let's bring that in here. So people that come in will be handed a postcard. It'll have the farmers market schedule, and then on the other side, it'll have the QR code. And if they want to go out to eat, or they want to find out what's going on, or they're from out of the area, they just hit it with their phone, and they'll automatically have a list of restaurants in Wakefield in front of them. We also plan on having this QR code up in the foyer as a poster, so people could literally take a picture of it and do the thing. And so the idea is the foyer is like, hey, you get farmers market, you get, we have the offer with the Chamber of Commerce, local restaurants, and then with the help of Main Streets, you also have the ability to see who all the stuff around us is. Any questions so far? I got one more thing to say on that. All right, so the last thing that we're doing with the town as far as restaurants and just getting the stuff out there. So the idea is that we'll give them, we'll give these restaurants, as much exposure as possible. And we've known that in the past that requiring restaurants to do anything is something that we don't do, but we offer the ability for them to provide us with their menus and any of their coupons or anything that they want. So if you could just imagine, like when you go to a rest area, or when you go to like a rest area or a hotel, and you end up at that like kiosk that has the trifolds for all the places around the hotel. The idea is that we want to create one of those types of displays in our foyer or somewhere near our foyer, potentially, location to be determined, but probably out near the front. And so that local restaurants and other people that are fully licensed with the town and doing business in a legal and ethical way, will give them the opportunity to have their materials available. And so what that means is when people come to the show, not only is it the first time that we have everybody, what we like to call Team Wakefield, again, from farmers market to chamber of commerce to main streets, to ACE to all the way over to the food pantry, we'll be able to cover sort of both of our audiences. We have certain people that come to our facility that are very digital. For those people, we have QR codes if they want to find out anything. For the under 30 crowd or the under 50 crowd, that QR codes are all they do. We will have that available, and we will be engaging with all the local businesses so that they have the opportunity to be engaged through that QR code. For the older people, me and other people who don't necessarily always QR code, who are more analog and want menus from places, we will have this display so that any local business that provides them, restaurants specifically, we'll have that available. So if we have people that are in there that are like, oh, hey, let me look at the menus, let me pull a few things, we'll do that. The way that that's being handled and sort of administered is Chamber of Commerce is helping lead that as and Main Streets, but Erin at the town of Wakefield, Erin Kokinda, I believe, is setting it up so that they're sending out emails internally from the town to all the licensed businesses to let them know that our event's happening and that there's an opportunity for them to either provide their menus and whatnot. And the drop-off point for that effort is actually town hall. So any of the restaurants during the day, as they get this email, and over the next couple of weeks, if they want to be a part of it, maybe they've never been to our facility, maybe they're only around during the day because, when we're open, they're open too. So then what will happen is they'll be able to drop off their menus and stuff at the greeter at town hall. They'll be given to like Erin, and then she'll bring them over all in like bulk. So that way we don't have people coming up to our door and trying to get in and just trying to see if we're there, since we're there only at certain times. So we've got analog, we've got digital covered. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Does anybody hit me with some questions? Anybody? Doug? All right, so I don't hear any questions on that. That is an update as to what kind of promotion and what stuff's been going on, which has been a lot. Lots of meetings with town government, with Main Streets, with Chamber of Commerce, with the other thing that in there that I mentioned slightly, but I'll mention again, is I did a conference call with the food pantry, and they're gonna bring us a drop-off bin. And and also we're incorporating some of their wordage as far as what people want dropped off in our press release. I think they'll also have a thing where people can like slip in donation envelopes. I think with the food pantries, they generally do better with money. But conventionally we tell people to drop things off. I think they'd rather prefer that you dropped off $100 bill than a whole bunch of cans, because it's more efficient for them. But either way, some people are able to do that. Other people like to bring canned products. We'll be able to accommodate any and all people that want to help other people with food, whether it's by cash or by can. So I think from a fun perspective, we're there. From a collaboration perspective, this event really collaborates with more people than we've ever collaborated with at once. The entire of what we call Team Wakefield. And I think from an ethical standpoint, we're hitting it all. We're helping people in need. We're helping people find things, and it's generally a welcoming deal. So I'm pretty satisfied with the way things are going. It is a lot of work. I can't wait until I have a Friday night off, but I can't be disappointed on that. Questions?
When's the
No.
pickup for the art at the end?
Okay, who's that? I'm sorry, who are you?
Alyssa Onigman?
Okay, cool. The art and edible stuff is what do you call it, on Sunday? If you've have you registered?
Sunday the 17th?
Have you registered?
Yes.
Okay, so did you get an email yesterday? You should have got an email yesterday with
Yeah,
all
I
that
probably
info.
did. I'll have to go look.
Yeah, so it's what do you call
It's
it?
okay. If it's in the email, I'll go search it out.
Yeah, it's Sunday 12 to 2 and Monday 5 to 7. Okay, so we got the press release. Any more questions on that? Anybody? Art and edibles? Gifts and donations. This one's a standing item that we've had. We still have a donor willing to give us a Steinway piano. We don't have any verbiage around that. I don't think there's any discussion for tonight on that unless somebody wants to bring it up. We've talked about a future sound system. We still have that spec'd out. Nothing's moved forward with that. Still conversations going with the savings bank about funding some of this stuff and figuring it out. The savings bank, I've talked to Bob a lot. They have 2 opportunities to talk about funding, and it's usually the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday of the month, various executive boards that they have. They know that we're interested in partnering with them for funding on a lot of these things. And really, it's just a matter of finding some time to put together a presentation for them to talk about, some of these future things which just aren't fleshed out yet. Does anybody have any questions on gifts, donations, pianos, or future sound systems? Okay, cool. All right, moving on. Number 6, we still need to schedule an operations guideline workshop. Hope to get to that maybe in the next month or so. Number 7, future events review. We just talked about arts and edibles, so we covered that and all the partners and all the stuff going on with that. Art Blooms, which had been sketched on our schedule but had never been approved as an actual event. It was just an idea of something we were going to do. Right now there is no proposal moving forward on that. It was an idea, I think, after art and edibles and just doing a lot of other stuff. I think a lot of the people that were going to work on that are just kind of tired. So I don't foresee that proposal coming forward this year, maybe next year. Spring a cappella could happen. I haven't heard from the high school, but as I hear from Anna Morell, who runs that, if we can get some dates together, assuming nobody has any objections, which I don't anticipate, I'll coordinate with them to allow them to use the facility to do their stuff. I think it'll be great. We don't have a new sound system, but we do have a whole new place. So I think it'll be great, and I'll keep people informed as we find out stuff on that. The high school is actually in the art and edible show. They're going to be dropping off their stuff, I think, on Sunday. But in addition, there's usually high school shows in the spring. I haven't heard on that, but Joy's pushed the info on to whoever's running the stuff now. I'm hopeful that I'll hear from whoever's in charge of the high school stuff in the next month or two. Right around this same time, usually what happens is we have like a high school show, and then the Wakefield Arts Council does their awards presentation, and those usually pair up.
We used to have a couple of high school shows. There was the 2 different levels. It was the advanced placement and then the next class down. I forget what the exact term was that. So there were the 2 of those, and then that was followed by the cultural council. Yep.
Right. So yeah, and that stuff will probably come together. We'll see how it goes. I mean, things are looking good. A month ago, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to stay open. Right now, it looks like everything's coasting forward, but you know the way it's been the last couple of years. In 2 weeks, we could all of a sudden have masks on and and be tying our shoelaces backwards to stay healthy. So yeah, waiting to hear on the high school stuff. We're open. I've talked to Joyce Wood and Carrie Mack a little bit about maybe doing a summer show. I think there's opportunity for a summer show, but summer shows are hard, just like January shows. If we have the proper set of options, maybe something will happen there. The good thing is we have air conditioning this year, so if we were to put something together, it might be a little bit more friendly than in the past. Another idea that we had down here, and this is just something that's been a placeholder, the Go Live music series that kind of goes hand in hand with if we get an audio system in there. Onset Music has offered us, if we have an adequate PA, they will supply us with musicians. And so that's a good one. Number 8, the Artist Challenge. That's another placeholder.
Could I stop you, Chris? Can I stop you? Can we go back to future event review? Sure. So
Sure.
in the past couple of meetings, we've talked about the Arts Collaborative is definitely planning on doing a Art and Animals, which is a title no one likes, but at least it captures it quickly, and probably a Critters and Creatures show for the month of October. So I'm going to put that in here. I don't think that anything else is out there for October yet at this point.
Now, you guys generally do a show in October, right? That's pretty much sort of become standard.
Yep.
Now, here's what I would throw out at it for next time that the show stuff's discussed. We're doing these longer format events. So
we definitely are interested in that.
Yeah. Yep. Do it for the whole month. Yep. Do it for 2 months.
Yep.
Well, we got stuff in November, but yeah, do it for a long time.
Yeah, we definitely are interested. So ACW, Critters and Creatures or some such thing.
Critters and Creatures.
Yeah, we'll do the whole month. Yep.
Okay, cool. What do we have in September? I feel like we have something in September that I can't think of.
I don't think we do. I don't think we do, Chris.
Okay. I feel like I have something, I just can't pull it out of my head, but if we come up with it, we'll know closer to the event, closer to that day. Critters and Creatures. That's instead of Art and Animals.
Yeah, and who knows? Stay tuned. But how about that for a genre or something?
I like both the titles. I think they sound cool.
Hysterical.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's got great marketing fodder. Whatever one gets picked, you know what I mean? I mean, we could be advertising that all summer. You know what I mean? Yep. Hey, get your, are you working on your stuff for Critters and Creatures? Or?
Yep. Yeah, and then with October too, there's the Halloweeny aspect of it as well, which is kind of where the creatures. So again, we haven't started to really sit down and say, okay, so what really is the theme of the show, and how open is it, or how not open is it, or whatever. So we need to figure that all out.
What would be cool is if like your finale night was the same night that they do the pumpkins downtown. Which I think is like a weeknight. Well, it depends on when it's the Thursday before Halloween.
Yeah, and then because the last Friday is the 28th. Looking at the calendar, but maybe there could be some synergy there. Who knows?
Or yeah, I mean, don't they keep them up? Or don't the pumpkins? Aren't they for the night? Or
they're there, but I think there's mixed feelings about whether they should stay there or not, because then they become, I think, they become fodder for destruction, and there's pumpkin stuff all over the place.
In a mess.
So
okay.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Right? No one can say nice.
Everybody's gonna smash a pumpkin.
See, right? Come on.
Oh my goodness. All right, so thank you. So thank you for that. So now I just put that into the future events. So and then you had onto the Artist Challenge, I think.
Yeah, Artist Challenge. That's one that we've just had out there. The idea. I think it's a sound idea. When we eventually have time to get to it, but one of the things I think that we're talking about, like before we had a sign and now we've got a sign, was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have people draw pictures of our building? And it's kind of funny, speaking of pictures of our building, the ones that I sent out that Jeff Steichman did, that was the kind of stuff that I was visualizing. So maybe we don't need them, but if we had people doing different stuff, and I think we've got a lot of content now for different things, but definitely I think the idea of doing artist challenges whenever we get time for that, I think is a solid one, but nothing to move forward at the moment. Art on the Highway. This is just the same thing we've talked about, a placeholder of, we've got access to a billboard, and if we were to package it the right way, we could put stuff up on that billboard. The genesis of this was just the fact that they're doing it in some other sections of the country. There's some in Florida between Orlando and Tampa. They're doing an art show across billboards, but that's across like a 2-hour time frame and like 100 billboards or something crazy. We just have one billboard. In the particular example I'm talking about, they literally had an exhibit. If you drive from Orlando to Tampa or Tampa to Orlando on Interstate 4, you pass by, so many Clear Channel billboards, and every couple minutes you get like a new piece of the exhibit. And then when you sort of complete the journey, you've seen like 40 something pieces over your entire journey. We wouldn't do something like that. We don't have the same setup, but we do have a billboard, which is a big giant campus, one of the biggest campuses you'll find. And if we get to the point where somebody has inspiration and we can write up a proposal, we can at least be taken seriously. I can't say that we'll get approved, but I think we can at least be taken very, very seriously.
Bigger than the turtle?
I know, right? I love that turtle.
Just a big QR code, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So other than that, we've got unanticipated topics. Does anybody have any unanticipated topics? All right. I don't hear any. All right. So with that, I think we're done. No unanticipated topics. Any questions? Anything? Not bad. 7:57, 57 minutes, or actually 55 minutes. All right.
See, no, I made it on.
How was the birthday party? Good.
Sorry, I was so late. I know. Yeah, we didn't do the cake yet, but we had our dinner at the Kowloon.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, tell them we said happy
15.
birthday. It's Luke tonight, right? Happy
Luke,
birthday, Luke.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Birthday is on Friday. Oh, sorry. Keep going, Chris.
Oh,
No, I'm going to make, definitely come on Friday. If you're around Friday, come on down. Actually, and if you're around the following Friday, we're going to have sort of like, we're going to be hanging the show. So I anticipate the following Friday when we're hanging the show that I'll probably order some food and some pizzas, and, we'll just be a bunch of us. We'll be doing work, but we're not going to be open to the public. But, we're going to have, hopefully, at least 5 or 7 people, but hopefully like 10 or 12. And we'll spend a couple hours and just figure out, what it's going to be like. We talked about, and Tracy's on these calls and with Anne-Marie, we've been like trying to figure out, how are we going to set it up? And bottom line is, I think until all the stuff arrives, we don't know. You know what I mean? Once we see what we have in-house, we'll figure out where it's going to go. We do know that we have over 40 people registered, and that each person can submit up to 5, 5 items.
Pieces.
And that most people submitted at least 2 or 3. So we have 100, maybe 150 pieces, which is about what we've been doing the last 2 or 3 times.
I bet you'll get a lot more 3D stuff too with this particular topic.
Yep. And I've seen that. A lot of ceramics.
Yep.
Stuff.
Yep. And I'm doing some felting stuff that's 3D.
Very cool. Did you see Joy's picture too? She did one called Cravings, I think.
With the sundaes.
Yeah,
and the candy.
Super cool. Super cool. Tracy, are you on the show? Tracy?
Hello. No,
are you in the show?
No.
Doug? Nobody expects me to be in the show, so I'm not even going to put myself on the spot.
Soon, I'll get there.
All right. But you'll actually be at the show, so.
Yes.
All right. All right, cool. So I'm excited that we moved the KMA proposal forward. I think that's a step in the right direction, however it turns out. And I'll make a motion to adjourn. Anybody want to second?
Thank you, everybody.
Second.
Second.
All right, everybody raise your hand and say goodbye.
Goodbye now.
Good night, everyone.
Bye. Good night.